Hey, welcome everybody. I have a very special guest joining us today. One of the members in our South Asian six-pack transformation program, Monil Patel, who went from 160 pounds down to now 142 pounds within 3-4 months and achieved a flat stomach. And now we're working towards getting that six pack. So, Monil, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us today. And how are we doing today, brother?
Good, man. I'm doing well.
Awesome, man. So I'd love to get started in this way, Monil. If you could just share with everybody a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and just a bit about your background, where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Houston. My name is Monil. I'm originally from Houston. I'm an engineer professionally, and I would say, a slightly stressful job. I manage global departments, global projects and programs, digital programs all around the world for particularly an elevator company right now. My background is I'm Gujarati. My parents are from India, and growing up in a brown household with the food, I think a lot of people will understand what I'm saying in general, right?
Absolutely, brother. And can you tell me a little bit more about what some of the things were that you were struggling with before joining the program?
I think a lot of people in general, including myself, we don't necessarily think about like the calorie intake and the versus the protein. A lot of times you think you're eating something that's healthy, but then you realize that, hey, this has the fat content or the calorie contents much, much higher than what you're getting in protein. For example, peanut butter. Peanut butter is great, but peanuts in general and peanut butter have very high fat content. But I think it's in society, it's a facade, right? Because people constantly say, put peanut butter on everything, thinking, oh, okay, it's high protein. And to an extent it is, but you're not getting the ratio of protein versus fat, right? It's something that I learned. I think in general, a lot of people don't know this. So I was finding myself eating when I first tracked the first week, I was eating over 2,000 calories, but I was getting definitely under 100 grams of protein. And this is where like the fat gain comes from in general. And then I slowed my running down. I used to run a lot more. So I slowed my running down because I have some injuries. Of course, they happen, right? And I have some injuries, some muscle injuries, spinal injuries, and stuff like that. So I'm working through those PT. I'm doing PT, working through those things as well in parallel. But I think the hardest struggle is with these types of things is just the barrier to entry, right? You spend a lot thinking about doing it, but you don't do it, right?
Yeah. And obviously you found me through my video on Instagram where I'm in my
I did.
kurta and everything, and I'm talking about the roti and the chava. So like what was the thing that made you decide to pull the trigger and like finally cross that barrier that you're talking about?
I think part of it was just where I was at in my life. I recognized that there was a lot of weight gain, there was a lot of stress and things like that, and I wanted to start my 2026 off in a positive note. So, just personally as well, I was working through a lot of stuff, and I wanted to start 2026 off in a way where I was happy with myself, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things. And I think physical fitness in general, working out, exercising helps with all of those things. It helps with stress, your spirituality. It helps regulate a lot of things in your body. Versus when you're not doing it, you haven't burned enough energy in the day to feel like you can sleep, to feel like you can rest. I think what resonated the most was you see a lot of fitness coaches online, they're everywhere. But a lot of times it's a narrative that doesn't necessarily feel grounded. Like you follow them, they say a lot of things, but it doesn't feel like it's grounding. It doesn't feel like the person that is on the other side of the video is at level with where you started. So I think that's what the differentiator was.
Yeah. And earlier you were also mentioning how you were struggling with hitting protein goals, obviously being a vegetarian. Can you tell me a little bit more about like what some of the things you might have tried in the past to
Yeah,
get down in weight that might have not have worked for you, especially being a
sure.
vegetarian?
Sure. I think a lot of people make the same mistake that I make where you just run a lot, just run, 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 right? Cardio is good, but if you only do cardio, it's unregulated exercise. You lose all your muscle mass. You start feeling weak. You're not actually toned or lean at all. And from a protein perspective, I wasn't getting enough protein. I was probably getting less than 70 grams a day. And the majority of that was carbs. So understanding what you're putting into your body matters and getting on a routine. So in the past, I was eating a lot more. There was no portion control. Every meal was finished. I was eating a lot more in one sitting than I should have been eating. Sometimes it's fine. Like life happens. You go out with your friends, you end up eating too much. It's like, all right, fine, right? but you want to try to get your body in a place where you can do that, right? Versus just constantly doing it, then it takes time for your body, your gut to kind of readjust to the steady state. But when the steady state becomes that, that's the problem. And so I think a lot of being vegetarian is there's a facade, right? The facade is, oh, you're vegetarian. You shouldn't, it's impossible to gain weight. The majority of vegetarian food is carbs. The majority of protein comes from lean meat. It does, right? Now, if you're vegetarian, you're not getting that lean meat protein. And what do? You have to eat, right? So you have to figure out ways to get the protein without injecting the heavy amount of carbs and staying full. That's the trick. And that's super hard to do. It takes life adjustments. You might have to give up some things for a while. You might have to say no to certain things when you go out to eat. You need to think about that.
Yeah. You know what that actually reminds me of is when you first started, you actually had a trip to Germany, and obviously you're in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I'd love to hear your perspective as to what made you decide to start the program anyways, knowing that you were traveling within like literally a week of joining.
I didn't really think about it that much. I just thought about it as I need to start regardless of the time, right? You make excuses for yourself for a lot of things in life. It's like, oh, I can do that later, or I'll put this off later. But when later comes, it just stresses you out that you continue to put it off till even further until it never happens. So part of me was just like, all right, this is something I need to do regardless of when I started after or before, it's irrelevant. I'm going to start it now. So I just committed. It was just a commitment thing. So part of it is getting yourself in the mindset that you want to change and then committing to it.
Yeah, and can you tell me a little bit about that experience when you traveled to Germany and coming back and what that was like as well, like being in
Yeah,
the program?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we had a routine that we set up, and then part of that routine, though, traveling to Germany, you're gonna eat out with coworkers, restaurants, this and that. There's not much of a choice. So part of it is figuring out what you can and can't eat, and you don't always have a choice. At lunchtime, they order food, this, that. You don't always have a choice. What you do have a choice is how much you put in. So staying at my calorie limit, regardless of the protein. I try your best to get the protein, but staying staying under your calorie limit, maybe not if you have a pizza, maybe not eat 3 slices, maybe eat 1 slice, 1.5, you know what I mean? But staying under that calorie limit and trying to log it is what helped me a lot. I mean, I logged my meals there. And I even went out of my way to go to the grocery store and pick up some protein shakes just to be conscious about it, just to have something in between the snacks, the right snacks and stuff. So even though I was traveling, I was conscious about the calorie limits. I was conscious about trying to get at least 100 grams of protein with shakes or whatever it is. I don't have a kitchen. I don't have anything. So you have to purchase things. And that's how I kind of went about. Right.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously, there were many other times we traveled beyond that, and it really sounds like getting resourceful, getting creative.
Yep.
There are times you sent me the menu when you were in Germany, and like,
I did.
let's
I
just
think, man, yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, dude, eat this pasta dish, right? And like have
Yeah.
this amount, and yeah. So with that said, what were you expecting when you joined the program, and what do you actually feel like you got? Like, so how did your expectations match up with reality?
Yeah. I don't honestly know what I was expecting. I was just kind of like, okay, in 3 months, I want to be back to my steady state weight. My steady state weight originally when I was running and I was active exercising before the injuries was around 140, right? I'm still not there yet, but my steady state weight is 140. Like the sweet spot is 140. Anything I build on top of 140 needs to be raw lean mass, not excess. And so I was at 160, and 160 for my height is not necessarily the best. It's not lean at all, let's be honest. So for me, it was mainly about getting back to my steady state weight, and it was about fitting back into my clothes correctly, noticeable change, and it just boosts confidence and things of that nature. Anything beyond that is a perk. Like a six pack to me is a perk. I want it, but it's a perk. But staying in my steady state weight, having lean mass, being strong at my height, those types of things, and like squashing these injuries that I have is the most important thing. So that's sort of advice that I would give to anybody, whether you're in a program or not a program, right? Is you need to know where you should be at. You need to try to hit that target. Don't go in with the ambition like I'm gonna get shredded. Good, you try to do that if you want, but like you have to hit micro goals before you can get to the macro goals.
That's a great piece of nugget.
You'll be disappointed with the macro goal in 3 months, 4 months. You'll feel like you've done nothing when you've actually done a lot.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important to make sure you have good milestones along the way. So, like, With that said, what was the probably biggest non-weight related benefit that you've experienced so far?
Yeah, I think forget losing weight and all that stuff. I think just positive routines, positive reinforcements. It helps to have a community with positive reinforcement. I think you talked about this the other day. Surrounding yourself with people of the same mindset who want to hit goals, positive goals. It doesn't have to be fitness, but in general, in our case, it's fitness, but those positive reinforcements or positive energy could translate to other things in life. For me, that translates in my life to being more active at work, being more active in my social settings with some friends, actually pursuing new hobbies, things of that nature. Because now you feel like you have the energy to do so and you feel like you have the encouragement. So you're not going to make excuses for yourself. You're constantly going to, if you want to do something, you'll do it now because you felt it before. It's fulfilling.
Yeah, it's like that follow through that you finally you have now. And what do you feel like was the biggest thing that we do differently compared to anything that you've ever tried before in the past?
Yeah. I think the group sessions before in the past, you have a personal trainer. It's either in person or non-person. You have a person, you have a workout routine, you get access to a bunch of tech. From this program, it's more personable. We went through your journey, however many years that took. Everybody's on a different place. Everybody's at a different age level. It's a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, from a lot of different areas and places in their life that range from, I don't know, late 20s all the way to the 50s. And you can see positive change when you're in the group discussions and you're constantly learning about new concepts and new things that you might not have known before. So you're not only learning from other people, but you're learning from the program as a whole. So I think that's really, really powerful in general.
No, I agree. I'm a huge believer in community and being around like-minded individuals, especially from similar backgrounds as well. Like you were mentioning, a lot of our guys are obviously South Asian as well. A lot of our guys are vegetarian, obviously, as well.
That's
And
really hard, right? The
yeah,
vegetarian part, I mean, I think everybody struggles with the same thing. You have a specific type of food that you're used to eating day in and day out, and you have to adjust, like the yogurt tip that you gave me. I mean, that protein that you told me to, I've been doing it regularly. I mix the scoop of protein in the yogurt, and the yogurt itself is 19 grams, and the protein itself is 25. So, you're getting almost a solid 50, 44, 45 grams of protein just off of a yogurt. So, I mean, hitting your protein count of like 150 grams a day should be a cakewalk if you have one, two, or three different things that you're doing regularly. It's routine. You do those three things every single day, and you're going to hit your protein no matter what. Everything on top of that is just a calorie exercise.
I love that. No, that's another great piece of nugget that I feel like a lot of people can take immediately and walk away with, implement into their current nutrition plan. And Monil, what do you feel like was probably the biggest hesitation you had before joining?
I guess my one liner would be snap out of it because a lot of people are in this mindset of like, well, I don't need a personal trainer. I don't need help. I'm good. That I'm good mentality is a stationary mentality. It means that you've hit a wall because life is about continuous improvement. You're never going to be perfect. And that's fine. You don't need to be perfect. You're only proving things to yourself. So let's put the ego aside, right? Squash the ego and mainly think about, okay, what's good for me? Is this something that I want to do for me? Not for anybody else. I should be doing this for me. Everything you do in life should be for you, for yourself, for your growth, for your benefit, right? Not to say you don't do things for other people and you don't help people and you're not a good person, but like you have to also think about yourself. And so what's good for my health? What's good for my well-being? What's good for my mentality? What's good for my emotional stability? Things of that nature, right? Snap out of it, right? I mean, I could have done this years ago, truthfully. I thought about it many times, like year after year. I'm like, oh, I should get a personal trainer. No, it's a waste of money, blah, blah, blah. Things of that. It always boils down in my head, at least with like the Brown community. I'll talk about that since I'm a part of it. Everyone ends up working really hard. They come from struggle, or if not, it's all good. And then have great professions. They're lawyers, doctors, engineers, and they have enough money and they're thriving. But the thought always comes back when you grow up in that type of place where you don't have enough, and now you have enough, you always hesitate spending money. And so you end up in this circular loop. It's like, oh no, I can't. It's waste of money, waste of money, waste of money. But like that's not the case because if you're spending money on yourself, is it really a waste of money? Because people spend a lot of money or things on things that are not useful for them. So coming back to the whole point, it's like, okay, if this is going to benefit you in an impactful way, is it really a waste? You have to internally reach this point of, okay, this is something I want to do and it's good for me, regardless of money. I'm doing well. I make good money. I have a good job. Everything's great. Life is stable enough that this is okay. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people struggle with that
That's
internal narrative.
That's good, man. I mean, I resonate with that. I really like what you said about the "I'm good" mentality as like a self-sabotaging mindset because, like you said, it's like you're stationary and you're not going to progress continuously and grow. And so that's very interesting. And I think a lot of us can relate to that, coming from a place of lack, reaching a
Yeah.
place of enough, and then just being in that scarcity mindset when it comes to ourselves. Maybe not with other things or other aspects of our life.
And don't
But
get me wrong, there is a point in life that maybe you're like, I have enough. And that's great. If you reach that point, that's great. Now, if you do have enough, now it's your job to give back to yourself. If you reach that point where you have enough, what's wrong with giving back to yourself? Because you worked so hard to get to the point where you have enough or maybe beyond enough. What are you going to do with that, right? I mean, you're not going to take it with you. So why not use it on yourself? Whatever brings you joy, do that. Whatever brings you happiness, do that. But also like take care of yourself.
yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I've once heard Warren Buffett say the best investment that we could ever make is in ourselves.
It's a classic one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, Manil, I really appreciate you sharing your experience so far. And obviously, we have the rest of this year to continue working on
Yep.
the goals that we have together, further continuing to build muscle. Like you said, it's not an absolute goal you have of getting that six pack, but it's a goal I have for you personally, selfishly. So,
It's a goal I have for me as well, but I think like 4 months in or whatever, I'm definitely like far beyond like there's no disappointment. Like I'm happy where I'm at, right? I'm happy in this part of the journey. Now I'm trying to cross that hump, right? You know, the steady state point is I think where I'm at. We talked about this a little bit. I'm the crossover, right?
yeah, you got a couple pounds from that 140 goal
Yeah.
and then beyond. Yeah. Cool, man. Awesome. Well, Manil, again, I want to thank you for your time and just sharing a little bit of your experience. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope that you found value from this. And if this is something that you're interested in learning more about, you could always on Instagram DM me the keyword SaaS. That's South Asian Six Pack, not software as a service. And I'll reach out and see if there would be a way for us to help. So that's it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and we will see you in the next video.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.